I will overrun regardless, but you know, I just like to know vaguely where I am. I'm Veronica Henry. I am a novelist slash screenwriter slash I do anything for money that involves words, basically. I write features for newspapers and magazines as well. As an author these days, it's incredibly important now to be self-promoting, although I'm very lucky still to have a publisher that does sales and marketing, etc., and is basically responsible for the selling of my books. The onus is increasingly upon the author to build their profile, to have a relationship with the readers, and to become a brand. And as a result of that, I've had to build up an online presence. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about this evening, thanks to Jo, just to tell you about my journey and how I went about it. I've kind of worked out a little bit of a cobweb here. There's so many social media sites, and there's always a new flavour of the month. I think the kind of in ones at the moment are Google+, and there's a thing called Pinterest, which is a bit girly because it involves pinning photographs to sort of virtual corkboards, and it's quite girly, isn't it? I don't know if you've been involved in it, but you know, every month there's something new to get sucked into and get involved with. But I've kind of, I think that there are a few that are certainly with us now and are the most powerful social media tools, and will be for the foreseeable future. Obviously, one has to keep one's eye open for the next big thing, but it's a bit of a dark art, I think, and there are plenty of gurus out there who will kind of tell you all sorts of things. But what I've basically worked out, I have at the centre of operations is the website. That's the thing that everything spins out from, and around that, the other social media tools that I use. I have a blog. On the website I will have links to other sort of related either other authors that I admire or associations, or I think I've got a hotel on there at the moment that I used, that I based my most recent novel on. I have a link to an online retailer, Amazon, which is, for me, I know Amazon will deliver, so that's why I've chosen them. They have the biggest choice. The pricing is not necessarily on my side, but that's what I've chosen to have as my shop. Although it's not, as I said, not actually my responsibility to hand sell my books, but if a reader goes onto the site, they have the opportunity to go and buy my backlist or whatever. YouTube I don't actually use at the moment. I don't do videos yet. Although, you know, if this goes onto your site, yeah, if this goes onto YouTube, then I'll probably put a link onto that. I have a link to Facebook. Facebook's quite interesting. I started off with just a personal Facebook account, and then which was friends, and then gradually readers, etc., followed me onto that. And then there came a point where I thought, actually, I don't know how comfortable I am with this, because a lot of people, Facebook's just personal, and I do use it personally. I do put photographs on there, and although you can have privacy settings, etc., but it does get incredibly complicated. So I decided I'd set up a Facebook page, which was just for work. And the interesting thing about that is, I think with a personal Facebook page, people have to send you a friend request, which you then have to accept, which is quite a daunting process. I mean, I hesitate quite often before I send somebody a friend request. For example, I think there's an author I really like, David Nichols, who I have met, and I thought, oh, I'll send him a friend request. And I thought, oh God, what if he says no? And I couldn't put myself through the humiliation of that. And I suspect that possibly there are a lot of members of the public who feel the same way. But with a business page, it's just a question of liking the page and you're in. So it's much more immediate, and I found it much easier to build up a following just on a business Facebook page. Although I only started it a few weeks ago, it did occur to me that's very instant and interesting. Twitter, which is I could be passionate about, but I think you've already had somebody speak to you about that. I could talk about Twitter until this time tomorrow, probably. I love it. It's amazing. You get out of it what you put in. And I spend a lot of time on it, but I have got a lot out of it in terms of networking, in terms of opportunities, and in terms of just relationships with people and building up a fan base. I think the difference between them, Facebook's very proactive. You can set your stall out. You can, say exactly what it is you want to present to the public, and you can put photographs on. Twitter is very interactive and much more intimate, but it's very quick and you can get results very quickly. It's very satisfying. Blogs are much more reflective, and actually, weirdly, they're my least favourite because they're sort of ponderous and slow and take up a lot of time. But it's about the individual and how what your business, it very much depends on your business, your industry, your trade, your potential customers, and which of these you feel will serve them the best. And I think it's a question of trial and error. But just in terms of how I set up the whole profile, if you like, step one, I decided to establish a brand. I mean, it's an old trick, and I'm sure any of you who've had marketing gurus talk to you have told you about a brand. This isn't a brand that I actually physically put on. These are the sort of keywords I have in my head as to what is going to be the continuity throughout all of those different social media sites. So I decided that my keywords were naughty but nice. I shamelessly stole that slogan from Cream Cakes, I think it was, in the 70s or 80s. And I thought, okay, that's kind of who I am. That's what my books are. Those are the words that I'm going to hold on to that will follow through all of those things. And it just helps you focus, really. Otherwise, you've got stuff all over the place and you're kind of schizophrenic split personality, and it just holds it all together quite nicely. So the second step, if you're starting from scratch, which I'm sure none of you are, I'm sure you're up and running and socially media savvy as it is, but then there has to be a sort of military campaign whereby you purchase your domain name, and sort of claim your Twitter name, your Facebook names, and that can be a bit of a minefield, because invariably the domain name that you want will have gone, so you have to sort of cleverly think up something else that involves a hyphen or a extra word, and then your Twitter name will have gone. I know mine had, so I had to put an underscore in it. But I made sure I was Veronica Henry on all of those. That name, the name that is on my books, is through all of those sites. And it just it just gives you continuity so that people know. There's no point in me being Veronica Henry on my website and Ronnie on Twitter, because people may not, not everybody knows that's the same person. So you just, again, it's about sort of keeping it all in the fold and keeping some continuity. I know I'm over my 5 minutes, but I'm just going to keep blathering on quickly. I think you need a consistent image as well, something that visually pulls all of those things together. Most people have a logo. I think I love that so much. I think it's fantastic. I am massively narcissistic, so my image is myself, pictures of. But for me, that's what readers want. They want to know what I look like. They want to know who I am as a person. So it may not be the same picture on all of those things, but it's always in the spirit of that brand that I created. And I think, again, when you're looking at all of these things, simplicity is very much the key. I'm sure you all know, everybody looks stuff up on iPhones. You just want whatever it is you want. I want readers to engage with me and to buy my book or know about my book. So that needs to be on your front page. That needs to be up there. If you're a hotel, get them booking in on that front page. So really, you need that front page to be doing a lot of work, but to be simple at the same time. Content is crucial. Content needs to be relevant, fresh, interesting. I think it's really important to look at what your competitors are doing, seeing what works really well, and then this is a directive that a lot of television commissioners give you when they're looking for a new project. That they'll say, we want Downton Abbey, we want the same as that but different. So basically, go out, look at your competitors, see what works, and do the same but different. Make it yours, own it. And all of this is incredibly hard work. It's very easy to say all of this, but it's just about thinking, who am I? How can I keep that vision of who I am and what I'm trying to sell, project to the customers, guests, readers, whatever, and keeping it all in that cobweb. The big problem that I think a lot of people are finding, and certainly I am finding, is the housekeeping of social media. it's a nightmare. It's an animal. It needs feeding. It's a hungry beast. And what you really have to do, and it's very personal again to each individual's business and how much you feel you're getting back from that. I mean, some people have purely online businesses, so clearly it's important. It's just getting that balance right of is it ruling your life? Is the tail wagging the dog, etc. I've got a massive Twitter addiction. I don't mind talking about it. I'm having treatment. And a lot of writers, because we're all solitary little folk locked up in our homes. But having said that, that is the thing that I've had the most response and the most business back from. So it's kind of trial and error. It's about playing to your strengths. I love Twitter because it's quick, and I'm very quick. You know, I'm like that. I love that reaction and 140 characters. Yes, done, fabulous. But it is, again, you know, other people much more suit the blog, where they can sit and be much more reflective and say what they want to say, and that's it, and then stand back and not necessarily get involved afterwards. So yeah, it's I think 15 minutes a day is really good to check in every morning. Just check into all your little babies, your little beasts, see if they need feeding, see if anything needs responding to, but don't fiddle too much. And then have that hour a week when you really think, right, does it need revamping? Do I need to put photos up? Do I need to respond to that? Those people that contacted me, do I need to update my price list? Just, I think discipline and giving yourself a timetable and a schedule within the week really helps. Just make it work for you rather than becoming stressful. We're all under enough stress without all of this becoming an extra burden. It can be great, but it is just about controlling it all. And I think that's probably just about it. So there you go, the complete. Thank you. You are all very well behaved and attentive.